Welcome back to Wake Up with Dr. Cheryl. I'm Dr. Cheryl Shire, PhD. I'm an author, entrepreneur, speaker of wealth transformation, integrity, integrity, integrity. With unconditional love, we need unconditional love more than ever today. With all the upheaval and disasters happening all over the planet, I read again this morning that there continues to be top executives getting slammed with lawsuits and sentences for the financial crimes that they have committed. It seems like every day it's happening. See, the law of justice is being served towards the greedy and the lack of integrity that is being unconsciously perpetrated. It is an unfortunate human failing that a full pocketbook often groans more loudly than an empty stomach, and that was by Franklin D. Roosevelt. Our mission is, with purposeful passion and lighthearted joy, we want to educate you for changing the unconscious mindset and heartfelt attitude, relationship, and behavior with currency and wealth, to heal the core and past programming towards the freedom that you deserve and apply spiritual principles to your wealth. Spiritual principles using unconditional love. Well, with that being said, I'd like to start with a joke. There's a lawyer joke here. Lawyer: Judge, I wish to appeal my client's case on the basis of a newly discovered evidence. Judge: And what is the nature of the new evidence? Lawyer: Judge, I discover that my client still has $500 left. A little boy wanted $100 badly and prayed for 2 weeks, but nothing happened. Then he decided to write God a letter requesting the $100. When the postal authorities received the letter addressed to God, USA, they decided to send it to President Bush. The president, you can tell when this was written, the president was so impressed, touched, and amused that he instructed his secretary to send the little boy a $5 bill. President Bush thought it would appear to be a lot of money to the little boy. The little boy was delighted with the $5 and sat down to write a thank you note to God, which read, Dear God, thank you very much for sending the money. However, I noticed that for some reason you had to send it through Washington, D.C., and as usual, those crooks deducted $95. Well, we have a very inspiring guest this evening, and her name is Lori Cheung. This is the first part of the two-part discussion with Lori. In 2001, Lori returned home from her skyscraper office after a very stressful day at work. She turned on the TV and Oprah asked, What is your passion? Days passed while enjoying dinner with her family. Out of the blue, Lori declared, I want to be a pet photographer. Lori's sister beamed with the confidence and said, Do it! A few years later, her photography was featured in Oprah's magazine. Lori is the pet photographer. Lori had the honor and joy of photographing Dr. Goodall recently. You all know the wonderful work that Dr. Goodall has done over the years. Lori loves creating photography for beneficial change in the world. Photography can save lives. She helps many nonprofits, including the Humane Society, SPCA, and the Pioneers. She enjoys photo shooting her clients, such as the International House at UC Berkeley and the United Nations Association to Foster World Peace. Animals breathe love, joy, peace into our lives. They connect us to our spirits. I invite the invisible to become visible, dogs, cats, and other animals.
Oh, sorry, I went a little over. Oh, sorry, that didn't fly very well.
That's okay. Are among our greatest teachers. With inner peace, let's envision peace in the world. Lori A. Cheung, the pet photographer. Pet photographer Lori, portraits all featured in aired on Animal Planet and is Google's #1 pet photographer. Lori's based in San Francisco and travels internationally for photo shoots. Lori honors animals and celebrates their legacies through fine art photography. Lori's celebrity clients include winners of Olympic Games, Academy Award, and Grammy Award. She's been published by the New York Times and International Books of Chronicle Books, Time Warner. Lori has many awards, which are too many. Lori, it's so great to have you here. I met you almost 3 years ago at an event, and I'm delighted to have you, and welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor and joy to be with you, Cheryl. Thank you.
Great. Well, we've had some conversations about your business and also my purpose and passion, which is the integration of spirit into wealth and money. And of course, wealth covers a tremendous amount and not of areas, not just money.
Absolutely. Yes.
So tell me how you were taught. How were you taught to think and feel about money in your youth, from as far back that you can remember?
Gosh, I started working when I was 7 years old.
7? What did you do at 7?
At 7, I worked in my aunt and uncle's bait and tackle shop for fishermen.
Oh my goodness, you
And
were exposed young.
Young. So, we would wake up at 3:30 in the morning on Saturdays, and I would work Saturdays and Sundays till 7 to 14 years old. So I just loved serving people at a very young age, and they were doing something that they loved to do, which was to go fishing. So I was helping them get out and have some fun that day.
Was that in Berkeley area?
It was at the Berkeley Marina.
At the Berkeley Marina,
yes,
okay.
San Francisco Bay.
Well, you have quite a history here then.
It was amazing, and my aunt and uncle would give me $2 silver at the end of the, I was 7 years old.
Big.
It was big, and I was barely over.
So what did you
counter.
do with those silver dollars?
So the silver dollars were awesome. My mom, back in the days, this is back in the 1970s, my mom would put in our bank account, those little passport books?
Yeah.
It kind of looked like a passbook,
right.
like a passbook. So every weekend, $2 would be added on, and she'd call me over to see the $2 add into my bank account.
Wow.
And it grew over time.
Well, yes. Interest, a little bit interest too. I mean.
Yes, and $20.
So you were taught from a very young age to save your money, and you worked for it. I mean, you definitely worked for it.
And when I got a raise for $20 a weekend, that was really amazing.
And how old were you then?
I was probably 10 years old.
Oh,
or, something like that. So
you've worked from very young. Wow.
Yeah. And I've been working ever since, but I loved it because work was play and play was work. It was hard, but it was still fun too.
Yeah. Did you ever feel like you had any lack at all?
No, because I actually felt very independent growing up because I did have my $2 and then $20 a weekend. So I was actually building up my own feeling of that I can accomplish something.
Yes, and from a young age, and that's wonderful.
It was awesome. So I'm really out there hoping to encourage children to follow their passion and, whatever it is, dog walking services or whatever, we need their services, and it's so much fun and exciting for them to contribute. Yeah. Because they're giving.
Yeah. So with that, I mean, if you didn't feel any lack or anything, then actually you were pretty lucky. Because did you ever hear any, words like there isn't enough or we can't afford this, or did you ever hear that?
Yeah, that was.
You did.
I mean, it was part of, save your money for a rainy day. So then I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to really save. So I came from a very saving, which was good too, because my parents, they're in their 80s now. Yeah. We just celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary.
Oh my goodness! Wow, that's great.
And so they came from the Depression era, and everything counted then. So I really.
So you were raised with that mentality.
Strong work ethic.
And boy, that we sure need it today.
It's,
with what's been going on for the last 4 or 5 years.
yes.
So that's good. That puts you on the edge of being able to.
Hi, I'm Lori Cheung, the pet photographer and the founder of Pets for World Peace, and I am here at the gorgeous Ritz-Carlton, and it's such a joy to photograph here, and we are having a fun yappy hour to benefit the Peninsula Humane Society. Come join us and have fun. Take care. Thank you. Bye.
So, goodness, you really actually were kind of ahead of the game because you started at 7 years old, which, is a little, and maybe it's pretty unusual actually for today it is. It's unusual.
It is unusual, but it's the beauty of a family business,
Yes,
too.
absolutely,
Wow.
which I got involved with when I was 13,
Exactly.
14. So it makes a difference. It shapes you differently.
It totally shaped me because I can remember how joyous my mom was at 4 o'clock in the morning getting the fishermen out and really, kind of sending them on their way, with their cup of coffee and their donuts and their bait and tackle, and off they would go, fishing. So I really felt a sense of how a smile could really help pick up somebody from the beginning of the day.
Makes all the difference.
Totally
It can make
does.
all the difference to one person for the whole day.
The whole day.
So that's great. You learned to do that very young, and
Yeah.
that's wonderful. That's why you have such. I know your energy. I mean, the first time I met you, I just thought you've got this pure effervescence of energy, and I absolutely love it. That's why I wanted you to come on the show.
Thank you.
So, moving on to what spiritual principles, or what is spiritual principles, or what does it mean to you?
Wow. It's so deep. The feeling of spiritual principles, it's so ingrained into who I am now that it's part of who I am. And it's coming from a place of deep heart, where my heart is, what brings me joy.
So what, and I'm, of course, the next lead-in is into wealth and money, and yes, wealth covers all relationships, but I tend to go towards the money part because it's all integral to me.
Absolutely.
But so how do you explain how you feel about it?
Should I explain it from like a career standpoint of where I found the wealth of that?
Well,
career?
we're going to that
Okay.
question a little bit later.
Okay.
But I guess what does it mean to you? The spiritual approach. What does that mean to you?
For me, it means in any decision making that I do, it's about what's the highest good for all. That's one decision that comes through in my mind. How can I contribute to the situation? How can I make it more joyful? Can I make it more?
Which I think you do naturally anyway.
Thank you. Thank you.
The couple 3 years almost. Oh my goodness! But so you like to look at the whole and the best for the whole. And I love that because I think the same thing. It's like any situation. It's like what's best for the whole, not for me, but for everybody.
Absolutely.
So that's a spiritual approach.
And even when I was young, I wanted to help save the planet. So when I was young, growing up, I really was on a pathway to become an environmental consultant, and that's where I graduated from UC Berkeley, environmental sciences, biology. Those were my ways of saying, how can I help the whole, basically.
Yeah.
So I was young and fortunate to have a passion for looking at the whole, even then. And I was just made that way. It's not like my parents, we didn't go camping a lot, but then I started volunteering in Yosemite and it changed my life.
In Yosemite?
It changed my life.
Oh.
It was for the Student Conservation Association.
And that's wealth right there. I mean, just the beauty and then the interactions with the people. So you learned from a very young age that wealth was almost everywhere.
And to keep things pure, healthy, the environment, it helps everybody.
Yes.
Then how do we bring that to the person being healthy in mind, body, and spirit, and all that we touch in the world?
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I mean, I love hearing this because a lot of people don't have that, and they have to really grow to get to that point.
Yes.
They really have to do a lot of work to get that, so this is great. I mean, that's why I know your energy. So I mean, you know. So how do you apply it? You know, like just like today. You know, how did you apply that in your day, in your past day today?
So today I woke up and said, today's the day, Flash. This is my dog, Flash. He's the the Chihuahua dachshund in my life, and just my muse. I'm just so inspired by him. So the first thing I did waking up today was like, today's the day that we get to be with Cheryl. And
well, I feel honored.
so we were just really excited about that. And the first thought that actually came through my mind is I'm really grateful to be alive.
Yes, amen. Yes.
And tomorrow's Thanksgiving,
Yes.
which is awesome. And
Yes.
I wish that every day was a feeling of Thanksgiving throughout every day.
Totally. And it can be.
And it can be.
It can be if we just focus on that feeling. Like, do you meditate? Do you pray first thing in the morning?
Yes.
I mean, if we do that, if every one of us were to do that, we could start our day like that. So we have that calmness no matter what waves, what storms are coming at us, we can stay there. And that's where I wish every person on this planet to be.
It's life-changing to set your intention at the very beginning of the day. Whether it be, usually I'm sitting in my room with Flash and I'm having a cup of tea and I'm just like feeling like, what would I like to create today? And it can be just a simple question like that. How
And
do
see
I
that
see
creative flow.
Yeah. And
That's
then-
what keeps you, that energy is that creative flow.
Pet photographer and the founder of Pets World Peace, and I am here with
Emma, come here, baby.
beautiful, beautiful Emma, and we're turning her into a superstar today at the Ritz-Carlton and how.
And I see that, and that's the spirit, your spirit coming out.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So since you are living your passion, I know that you were, you know, in a skyscraper and you were handling a lot of high-end things before you decided to do the pet photography. But how, you know, how are you, you know, where did you find your true wealth to be able to do your being a pet photographer?
Where did I find that true kernel of, you know, it was actually when Oprah Winfrey asked the question, because prior to becoming a photographer, like my dad is a retired photographer, so I kind of was born with photography in my genes, and I started when I was 10 years old, and I'm almost 50 years old now, so I've been photographing for a long time, and I never thought of it as a career in the beginning, because I was so into wanting to help save the earth, basically.
Right.
So
now you're saving people and animals.
And so, you know, I was, it was a hard day at work. I was a young project manager managing biologists and hydrologists and geologists and archaeologists and lots of archaeologists, lots of ologists,
Yeah, right.
and traffic engineers and air quality and noise specialists. And in California, we have environmental impact reports. So that was my expertise, was managing those.
And that must have been pretty intense or tenuous, you know, getting all those reports.
It's intense, and it's beautiful at the same time because it does help our environment.
Right.
And so I remember, you know, coming home and clicking onto recording, and Oprah just said, "What is your passion?" And it felt like she was talking to me.
Well, that's a good thing.
I know. And I just like, wow. And then days went by.
Right.
And had a great dinner conversation, and then all of a sudden,
Right.
and had a great dinner conversation, and then all of a sudden I just said, I want to be a pet photographer. It just popped out. We weren't talking about my career or Oprah or anything. And I turned to my sister and I said, you know, that, and she looked at me with such belief.
Conviction.
And she said, do it.
Yeah. And I'm sure your parents supported you.
They did,
You know?
and I absolutely. And I went home that night, and I said, "Is the domain name thepetphotographer.com taken?" And it wasn't.
It wasn't. Oh, see, divine. That's synchronicity.
Totally.
Great. And how long ago was that?
This was in 2001.
Oh, okay.
But the other synchronicity is I've been photographing people for a long time too. And I said, "Is theportraitphotographer.com taken?" And it wasn't taken either. Do you know how many millions of
Yes.
photographers.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So it was
Wow.
totally a sign
See?
from the universe.
Hi, my name is Andrea Stark. I'm the Public Relations Coordinator here at the Ritz-Carlton, the beautiful Ritz-Carlton Half Moon Bay. As you can see, we're in the middle of our Yappy Hour, so it's our 5th event, getting bigger and bigger as the months go on, which is great. Just decided to extend it to the end of the year. Lori has been kind of a trademark here at the Yappy Hour. She comes every month with a big smile on her face. Pretty fabulous. I think my favorite thing, aside from the beautiful photography, aside from that, she's such a great kind of representative of our Yappy Hour, and so great with the crowd, just kind of working the room and taking pictures, even if people don't even know if they want to do it. At the end, they really do want to do it, and the pictures are a beautiful representation of that.
Absolutely.
Wow. So that, for me, that's how the true wealth came. It just kind of like popped in.
Spirit just spoke and put
Yes.
everything in sequence for you, or everything in. It's just synchronicity.
It's synchronicity, and in Chinese, my mom would say that's a jingding experience, meaning it's destiny. Jingding.
Jingding. Is that what jingding means? Is
Destiny.
Destiny. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's great.
So following.
So you were in your muse, and you made that commitment.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh my. So do you have conversations about spirit and wealth with your clients or anybody in your business environment? What's the conversation that you have?
The conversation is, well, it's really up right now because a lot of my friends have lost their homes, are almost losing their homes,
Yeah.
lost their jobs, almost losing their jobs.
Right.
A lot of loss.
Lots of transformation happening.
And one day I was meditating and God, so what's the gain through that? What is the gain of the losses? And what I've realized is that through those dips in life, the joy can equally
Absolutely.
increase. You know what I mean? Like
The roller coaster of life.
Yes.
I mean, if there's a low, there's a high.
yes.
Or it's going. That's the consistency of life, really.
it makes you appreciate the joy even more,
Right.
Because you've gone through.
Yeah,
some
and you've made it.
incredible
And
things.
as long as we keep that spiritual, that positive attitude in that downtime. I mean,
Yes.
I've certainly had my own, and
Yes.
in the growth, and that's where you really grow, is when you have those rubs. Michael Beckwith says the rub.
Yes.
And the oyster, and I use that as a metaphor. The oyster and the sand, he makes the pearl.
Yes.
So we don't really grow unless we have some sort of challenge.
And in the early 90s, I was laid off from my environmental consulting firm, and my supervisor said I was a product of the recession. This is like in
Yeah.
the early 90s.
Right.
And what it allowed me to do was to be free. Like I was so into my career at the time there, like on the road to becoming a principal of the firm maybe.
Yeah.
But I was so dedicated but so busy and stressed out that I
Right,
wasn't even
right.
thinking of any other career. But
Right.
because of the
Then-
layoff, it set me free.
To be able to enable you to have that creative flow that
Yes.
that gave you the impetus to do what you're doing. So
Exactly.
see, that's a perfect example of, oh my God, I lost my job, the money's not flowing. And then boom, you have that synchronicity, that spiritual fire that
Yes.
happened, and you are doing it to this sweet little puppy. Yes, you are so sweet.
Thanks, says
Flash.
Flash. Hi, Flash. Good boy, Flash. Good boy.
So, if you can give some suggestions to our viewers around the approach to wealth and spiritual wealth, what would you say? What would you?
I'm going to share on how it would be for a career. Let's say
Okay, no,
that as an
please,
example,
please.
because it's pure joy. When your work is like your play is like your work. It's pure joy.
Yes,
Because
I love doing this.
and you're in the zone, and
love
it
it.
feels amazing,
Yeah.
and you were made. This is your calling, Cheryl. So it feels amazing. So I kind of think of it on a career standpoint, finding that place. It's imagine your passion, and you could journal about it. You could
Now, what do you mean? Imagine your passion.
like
Just
finding
describe
what
it.
it is. Finding what your passion is. Do you love animals? Do you love being in nature? Do you love dancing?
So,
Do you love music?
So you're saying, put yourself, and start like free flowing with what you really like and what you like, free flowing, the creative flow,
Yes.
to have the freedom to be able to go there.
Exactly. So fine. And a lot of times it's like, well, when you were a little boy or a little girl, what was that brought you so much joy?
Lori, thank you so much for being on the show. I really treasure your purpose and your passion and your spirit. So much for being here tonight and the contribution to world peace through animals, Lori. Our tip for today is use your integrity with any and all transactions dealing with money in every day and every moment. Physical strength can never permanently withstand the impact of the spiritual force, and that's by Franklin D. Roosevelt. Competition has shown to be useful up to a certain point and no farther. But cooperation, which is the thing we must strive for today, begins where competition leaves off, by Franklin D. Roosevelt. I'm really honing into Franklin's quotes today. The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much, it is whether we provide enough for those who have little. By Franklin D. Roosevelt. I'll leave you with this. Think and be happy, be grateful, and eat healthy. Good nutrition feeds the mind. Don't forget to feed your spirituality with unconditional love and share your abundance and wealth with others. Live all your relationships from your heart and not just your mind. Bye for now. Until next time.